This video is sponsored by Dashlane. Never forget another password. I'm Andrew Edwards, and you're watching Gear Live. Earlier this year, Samsung announced a new groundbreaking device called the Galaxy Fold. However, once the device got into the hands of reviewers, several issues were quickly identified that caused Samsung to delay the release. Now, the new and improved Samsung Galaxy Fold goes on sale. In this episode, we're talking about the 5 things Samsung did to fix and improve the Galaxy Fold. What is going on, Tech Squad? Andrew Edwards here, editor-in-chief of GearLive.com, and as I mentioned today, we're taking a look at the new and improved version of the Samsung Galaxy Fold. Now, as I mentioned, Samsung wanted to release this device about 4 months ago, but once they were sent out to reviewers, there were several issues that crept up that made Samsung take a hard stop the week before it was set to ship in order to address the concerns. Now here we are 4 months later, and if you're wondering what were those issues and what did Samsung do to fix them, that is what this video is all about. But in addition, I will have future videos on the Galaxy Fold, including the full Galaxy Fold review. So if you want to see those, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon in order to stay up to date on when they're released. We will also be talking about the Galaxy Fold at length on the next episode of Geared Up. Me and John Rettinger, formerly of Techmo Buffalo, have a weekly tech podcast that brings you all the latest tech news of the week. Just search for Geared Up in your favorite podcast player, but I will also leave a link to it down below. Let's jump in with the first major change Samsung made to the Galaxy Fold, and that would be the protective layer on the inside. And this is actually the most important update in my opinion. Samsung has extended the protective display layer so that it goes all the way to the edges of the device and is then tucked away underneath the bezel. And that means you'll no longer see where that display ends, and you won't mistake it for being a removable screen protector. This was one of the problems with those first initial devices. Reviewers thought it was a screen protector. They tried to remove that layer, and it turned out to be an essential piece of the Galaxy Fold. And by the way, if you were to receive a Galaxy Fold in its initial design and tried to remove that layer, I wouldn't blame you, because Samsung does install removable screen protectors on the Galaxy S10 and the Galaxy Note 10. And it's actually something I appreciate that they do. They help you protect the displays on those expensive devices. But if you don't want those screen protectors, you can easily peel them off, but that's not something you'd want to do with the protector on the inner display of the Galaxy Fold. So now that the edges of that layer are basically invisible because they're tucked away under the bezel, that problem is now solved. All right, moving on, the next big change Samsung made to the Galaxy Fold to address those show-stopping issues was adding caps to the top and bottom right where the hinge meets the display. These protective plastic caps block debris from getting into the hinge and then proceeding to head underneath the display itself. You won't see them when the fold is closed, but you will see them when you unfold the device, centered at the top and bottom right where it folds. This addresses one of the concerns with the original review units, which saw dirt and dust get underneath the display and kind of push through and bubble up, causing it to warp in those areas. So the addition of the protective caps tightens the security, blocking that stuff from getting into the phone. Up next, let's talk about how Samsung reduced those gaps on the hinge. Aside from the display itself, the hinge was the other part of the Galaxy Fold that needed to be addressed. Now it feels sturdier than it did on the original version, and more importantly, the gaps where the hinge ends and the folding display begins has been significantly reduced. This, along with the protection caps that I mentioned a minute ago, should go a long way towards eliminating errant debris from your pocket or anywhere else from getting under the display. Before we move on to the next item, let me tell you about this video's sponsor, Dashlane. These days, privacy online is paramount, and a big part of keeping yourself protected online is using unique passwords for all of your accounts. Now, I know all about this firsthand as a content creator online. Every social media account that I have, including my YouTube channel, have people constantly requesting passwords in order to break into them. Now, if I used one single password for all of my accounts, it would just take one leak on the dark web to allow anyone into my accounts. It would be impossible to remember hundreds of passwords for every website that you use. But that's where Dashlane comes in. Dashlane saves and autofills all your passwords and login information for every website. It'll also autofill things like addresses, phone numbers, credit card numbers, all with a single tap or click. Now, my favorite feature, Dashlane can actually update or change a password for you with a single click. You can download Dashlane for free on both mobile and desktop, but if you use my link in the description, you'll get a 30-day free trial of Dashlane Premium. And if you decide to upgrade after the trial, you can save 10% by using my code Andrew Edwards. Again, all details down in the description below, and big thank you to Dashlane for sponsoring this video. All right, number 4 on our list of the top 5 things Samsung did to fix and address the issues with the Galaxy Fold. They actually added a metal layer underneath the inner display. This is a change that you won't see visually, but it's appreciated nonetheless. This new metal layer makes the display feel more sturdy when interacting with it. When you combine this with the changes to the hinge that we just talked about, you get a greater appreciation for the Galaxy Fold. And overall, it just makes it feel like a more premium and polished device. And last on the list of the 5 things Samsung did to improve the Galaxy Fold, let's talk about my least favorite feature, that gap. When I mention the display gap, I'm talking about the gap between the 2 halves of the Galaxy Fold when the device is shut. It's completely necessary because the display technically isn't something that can fold flat. It's more of an extreme curve. However, the smaller that gap can be, the less likely something will get in there and cause damage. And I was happy to hear that Samsung has reduced the size of that gap as well. Now, there's still very obviously a little bit of an open space there, but the tighter you can make these spaces, the more durable the phone can be. So I was very happy to see that they were able to reduce the size of that gap. So I've told you what's changed with the Galaxy Fold. You may be wondering, what's still the same? With the Samsung Galaxy Fold, you get the same 4.6-inch 21:9 external display, the same 7.3-inch 4:3 inner display, the 4 external cameras, the 2 internal cameras, the Snapdragon 855 processor, 12 gigabytes of onboard RAM, and 500 gigabytes of storage. You can order the Samsung Galaxy Fold at Samsung Experience stores, AT&T, and Best Buy. You can also order it online at AT&T.com and BestBuy.com. However, do know that even if you ordered the phone online, you have to do an in-store pickup. They will not ship the Galaxy Fold to your home, to your place of business, etc. Instead, there's a new white glove pickup experience where you'll get a walkthrough of how to use and how to care for the device. Now I want to hear from you guys. Has Samsung done enough to change the Galaxy Fold to make you comfortable enough to pick one up for yourself? Did you plan on picking up the original Galaxy Fold? And if so, do you still plan to buy this device? Or was it never something that was on your radar due to the design or due to the high price tag? Drop a comment down below. I'll meet you there for further discussion. As I said, a full Galaxy Fold review is incoming, so be sure to get subscribed for that. And we are also gonna have that deep dive discussion on this device coming up this week on the Geared Up podcast. Until next time, thank you so much for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm Andrew Edwards, and I will catch you in the next video.